This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Automotive suppliers in Europe are so alarmed at how much business they're losing that they're demanding local content rules for protection. The European Association for Automotive Suppliers, known by the acronym CLEPA, says that last year 54,000 job eliminations were announced. So far this year, another 22,000 have been announced, and it says that the European supplier industry could lose a total of 350,000 jobs by 2030. These suppliers currently account for 75% of the content that goes into vehicles made in Europe, but warn that they could lose 23% of that by the end of the decade. As we've been reporting, Europe faces a major problem in that new car sales are well below where they were a decade ago, and Chinese car companies are making major inroads into the market. Meanwhile, Bloomberg reports that BYD is starting a price war in Japan. It's cutting the prices of some of its models by as much as 50%, or about $6,700. That's because BYD is facing a sales disaster in Japan. In the last 2.5 years, it only sold 5,300 cars, despite having 45 dealerships around the country. But slashing prices like that will destroy the residual value of the cars that it's already sold, and the people who bought those cars will be pretty ticked off that they paid so much. And right on the heels of that, Xiaomi announced that it's going to start selling the performance version of its electric SU7 sedan in Japan through its smartphone and home appliance stores. By the end of this year, it will only have a handful of those stores, but is looking at building them all across the country. As reflected in the previous story, Japan does a pretty good job of limiting how many cars foreign automakers sell in its country. Last year, foreign automakers only accounted for about 5% of market share, by far the lowest of any major car market in the world. Sales of used EVs are starting to take off in the U.S. According to Cox Automotive, used EV sales increased 34% in the first 6 months of the year. Part of that is because prices are coming down fast. The average used EV cost $34,700 in August, which is only slightly more than used gas-powered vehicles. On top of that, a typical used EV is only 2 to 3 years old, compared to used gas vehicles, which are 6 to 7 years old on average. And used EV inventory is expected to continue to grow. According to Recurrent, 240,000 EVs will be coming off 3-year leases next year.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
Jaguar Land Rover is slowly restarting its operations after a cyber attack forced it to shut down. Last week, it got some of its systems back online. Now the automaker says it will restart some of its production in the next few days. JLR also secured a $2 billion loan from the UK government to help pay suppliers who were struggling financially during the disruption. And since the company sought the loan, that suggests to us that JLR didn't pay a ransom to the hackers. And speaking of automakers restarting operations, General Motors announced that it will reopen one of its engineering buildings at its Warren Tech Center near Detroit on October 1st. GM closed the building earlier this month, which has 10,000 workers, after 2 employees tested positive for Legionnaire's disease. Stellantis is promoting its Chief Financial Officer of North America, João Lourenço, sorry if I butchered that name, to CFO of the entire company. Prior CFO Doug Osterman resigned from Stellantis for personal reasons. Lourenço joined Fiat Chrysler in 2009, eventually rising to CFO of North America in 2017. He briefly left the automaker in 2024 to join Goodyear, but he returned to Stellantis earlier this year. And earlier this year, Mercedes spun off part of its North American research group to form a new company called Athos Silicon. It's a semiconductor company that makes chipsets for autonomous vehicles, not just for cars, but also for robots, drones, and aerospace. Athos is located in Silicon Valley, and Mercedes recognized that it needed to let the company operate independently to innovate quickly, move fast, and expand beyond automotive. This is a trend that we're seeing growing in the automotive industry. It's like Ford's Skunk Works program in California. It's beginning to dawn on legacy automakers that their legacy systems and corporate structures move too slowly to bring new products and tech to the market. While a good chunk of a car can be recycled, there's still a number of components that can't. We're talking about foams, plastics, films, and paint particles, which are then shredded into a slurry. And currently, the only way of getting anything useful out of that complex mixture is with a lot of heat and energy. But Porsche, in partnership with BASF, successfully completed a pilot project showing how that mixture, which it calls automotive shredder residue, can be recycled chemically. The process turns the shredded pieces into a gas, which is then used to make polyurethane. A Porsche supplier was able to take that polyurethane, turn it into a foam, and finally use that foam to make new steering wheels. The automaker says it will look for more recycling opportunities like this in the future, but as of right now, it's not incorporating the process into its vehicle production. For our latest poll, we asked our members' thoughts on retractable door handles. There's some concern over their safety, especially for ones that are electronically operated. 20% responded that they love retractable handles. Almost 61% prefer manual handles. 12.5% say they haven't had the chance to use these kind of door handles yet, and just over 6% say none of the above. Cool Tats was one of the few in favor of no handles at all. Love the push buttons on the Mustang Mach-E, allowing for keyless entry at all 4 doors. The actuator assists with door opening, and auto start and climate means the doors are unlikely to freeze shut. But most kind of had the same thinking as Dave, who says, quote, "I understand the aero benefits, but can't the OEMs engineer manual handles that are just as aerodynamic and at lower cost and more reliable, and perhaps do not need the electrical system to work?" Thanks to everyone that took a moment to participate in our poll. And if you'd like to join in, please consider becoming a YouTube or Patreon member as well. Plus, you'll get more content than just these polls. Could carbon capture be that salvation of the internal combustion engine? What if you could run an engine on gasoline or diesel that had zero CO2 coming out the tailpipe? That's going to be the topic on Autoline After Hours this Thursday, and you're not going to want to miss it. But that's a wrap for today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Alex Partners, when it really matters. CSP, the Composites Solution Partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
We help businesses respond decisively to their most critical challenges, from urgent performance improvement to enterprise-wide transformation. We work across the full value chain, in automotive and in industrials, helping clients navigate disruption, drive innovation, and unlock sustainable growth. Alex Partners, when it really matters.
Hi, I'm Don Hatfield from Intrepid Control Systems, and I'm presenting the wireless BMS solution from Intrepid Control Systems. Come and see us in this demo at booth 4600 at the battery show. And also Analog Devices will be there as well. We'd be happy to talk to you and help you with your solution.